Happy Tuesday, Sipsters. Welcome back to the Sippin' on Stories podcast with me, Mandy, your host. I'm so delighted that you're here. Also, happy Halloween because it is such a great week with Halloween and it's on a Friday, which is so nice. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays, even as the words are coming out of my mouth, I'm also thinking, well, I also love Christmas and I really love the 4th of July. I also just love my birthday. I told you last week, I love any chance to just like celebrate and have a good time. And that is Halloween, but it is one of my favorites. And I'm excited. I love trick-or-treating with my kids. I love getting dressed up. It's just a good old time. Okay, for today's episode, we're doing episode whatever it may be of forcing my family members to all come on the podcast at some point. And today we have my brother. I've mentioned my brother so many times, I feel like in so many different episodes for various reasons. And today he is on the podcast. So it's Hadley. He's my youngest brother. And he is going to talk about his experience on a flight simulator crew and what they do to actually like raise money for charity. And so he just talks about like how that all came to be. And I found it interesting. My brother has always loved to fly or loved the idea of flying. He's always wanted to be a pilot his whole life. So it is not surprising to me at all that this is something that he has ended up doing as a fun hobby for himself. So here is Hadley for today's episode. Okay, we are going to start all over, and I'm just going to say the exact same thing I just said.
Deal. I'm going to change my drink just to mess with you now.
Well, then no one's going to know what I have with me in my hand.
That's fair. That's true.
Okay. All right. Well, for the listeners, we just recorded this whole entire thing, and I wasn't recording, so we're going to try this again. I have my brother, Hadley, on the podcast today, who has been mentioned many times in many episodes for many various reasons, I feel like.
I'm like a mysterious figure in the background.
You are. So it's like he's been a guest. He was saying he's been a guest, but never actually been a guest.
I'm an honorary guest that's never been on.
Yes. So it was time for him to be on. Mm-hmm. And was that it? I guess. What's your favorite drink, Hadley? Tell me again.
Yeah. So kind of depends on the day, as well as like how long of a day at work I've had. But right now it's either Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi with the fresh lime in it. Just slice the lime in half, squeeze it in there, off you go.
Mm-hmm. And I was showing him that I am currently drinking the Diet Coke with lime, which was seeming like it was like a hard thing to come across. So I don't actually know if it's like hard to find in stores because I was able to get it pretty easily. But I don't know. Anyway, we were saying that it basically tastes like, well, Hadley hasn't tried it yet, but the first sip you can taste the lime, but now basically all I can taste is the Diet Coke. So Hadley, you can be my tester this weekend when I come to see you, and you can see how true of a Diet Coke with lime flavor it is since you have it frequently.
Yeah, I probably won't be the best person to judge though, because like mine is more, it's very strong lime flavor, so I'll probably just be like, I can't even taste anything.
You'll probably add lime to this Diet Coke with lime.
I'll probably put it in a cup and then add some lime potentially. Yep. I just like the lime. It's tasty.
It is good. I feel like that was my first like intro into the dirty sodas was getting Diet Coke with fresh lime and coconut. But I was like, oh, that was good. And really haven't done it since then, but it was a good intro. So
yeah, it's dirty.
Anyway, okay. So I already said this, but I'll say it again. Hadley has loved flight and planes and all the things since he was, well, basically his whole life. So today I know he's going to be talking about flight simulation, things like that, and a crew that he's on. But I don't actually know the full depth of the story that he's going to tell. So Hadley, go ahead and start.
Yeah. first off, thanks for having me on here.
Of
I know
course.
you're super booked, so it's hard to get an appointment with you.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
Squeeze you in, here and there. Squeeze
yes,
you in.
yes,
Yeah.
I
You're my
appreciate. I mean, it's
brother, I
like
guess I can
midnight,
squeeze you in.
so.
Yeah.
Uh, so honestly, I've probably spent the last hour trying to figure out how to put this story together, more or
hmm
less, and the best way to like tell it and whatnot. Because like to me, I'm super passionate about this kind of stuff, but I feel like to others are gonna be like, okay, like what's the big deal or whatever. Um, but I've kind of want to talk about. So it's a group called Cali Crew, and it's aviation related stuff, and it's primarily around flight sim, and it's how we use that as a way to help charities in a
hmm
totally unconventional way. Um, so I have loved anything and everything aviation since probably before I was born. I don't even like it's just in my blood. Um,
You were in heaven
and
flying
yet,
through the clouds.
yeah, probably, yeah. Like I have spent probably more time looking up than I have looking at my own feet. Like it
hmm
just I've always loved flight, and through the years, the only way that that's been accessible to me is through flight simulation, like the games on the computer. There's been some stuff on like Xbox, like Ace Combat, or these kind of games that have come out, or Flight, or these things that are more like arcadey, but it's still flying. So I loved
hmm
every single second of them. Um, but then finally, our mom got a computer that could halfway run it. Basically, I had to turn all the settings down to like absolute minimal and whatnot, but it was able to run a program called FSX, which is Microsoft Flight Simulator X.
How old was that? Like, how old were you when that
Oh,
happened?
when I very first did it, I want to say it was like 2008, 2009.
Okay, so I was like
Um,
basically out of the house at that point, almost.
yeah, well, actually, I think it was before that because when it was every year, I did that 1 year of
Civil Air Patrol?
football.
Oh, oh,
No.
oh, so yeah,
Um,
that was way before that.
oh,
I would
yeah,
have
that
been,
was sixth grade, so 2007.
yeah.
Six, somewhere around there. I don't know. Um, but it was around that time. Still the same laptop that mom has to this day, actually. It was that laptop. um,
Standed through the test of time.
oh, it really has. It really has. Um, but through that, so one kind of unique thing about aviation is it doesn't like once you have that passion and that hobby, it's a kind of a small world
hmm
and it tends to connect you with people that you would have never connected with prior. And so somehow I have no idea how, but I met a gentleman who basically I kind of became his tech support for his flight simulator stuff.
Yeah,
And
if
like throughout,
information on Hadley, he also could take apart things and put them back together from the moment he was born, and it didn't matter how old any of us were. He's always the one that, well, I said the other day I had to call him to ask him what my things were because I don't know anything tech related. He's the tech guy in our family, like 100%. So that makes
yeah.
sense. Yep.
Uh, it's funny you say that, side note, because as I'm looking at the camera, immediately was like, I know what microphone that is. Because you were like, it's a microphone. Got it. I'm like, that's a Shure SM58.
Okay. Well, I know it's a sure. I know it's a sure.
Yeah,
That's all
just
I
by
knew.
looking at and I'm pretty sure those are Audio Technica headphones. um, anywho, so I basically became his tech support, but I was also like just good friends with him, and throughout the years, he was fortunate enough to kind of start building more of like a home cockpit per se. Because the thing about a lot of these simulators is it's like it can be just you load it up, fly it around with like your keyboard and your mouse,
Like
and
your
then
up
it can go.
and down arrow type thing,
Yeah,
side arrows.
exactly. Like you want to go up, you press and hold the down arrow. Sounds
Yeah,
weird, but that's how planes work. It feels backwards for some,
it
but
is. Yeah.
you hold the down arrow. Um, it could go from that all the way to what I'll eventually be talking about, which is like the full cockpit,
Yeah.
basically, and everything in between. And so, as this friend of mine was kind of getting more and more and more into it, the other thing with flight sims, and you can ask your father-in-law with this, once you get bit by the bug, you're bit by it. All of a sudden, like you're spending money on things you would have
Oh
never
yeah.
spent money on.
He would
Like,
be aware of that.
yeah, it's weird. But so he kind of started buying some pieces here and there, trying to replicate some plain stuff. And then one day he basically was like, nope, this doesn't cut it. So he ordered a simulator from what's called Flight Deck Solutions, and they build like well, like not quite 1-to-1 because it's like 99% of the size, but they're replica cockpits of certain planes.
Okay,
And he bought
99% of the
one.
size, you might as well just have the whole cockpit.
Yeah, it's shrunk ever so slightly. I don't know why,
Yeah,
but
that
like
makes
all
no
the
sense.
dimensions are ever so slightly smaller. Um, and with that, those things are incredibly complex. So I became his tech support for that. So like he'd fly me out to his place down in California, and I'd help put this stuff together. And what he had was the replica. It's a 737-800 NG for all those aviation nerds who might be listening. But for those who don't understand what
That's me.
hieroglyphics I just basically said, it's the
Yeah.
plane that Southwest flies, basically. That's the
Okay.
easiest way to think of it. It's their plane.
Okay. When you're talking
Um,
like building something like that, what price range are you looking at for that? Like
on
ballpark.
average, it kind of varies. Anywhere from if you're building it yourself, like you're custom making all the parts, that kind of stuff, you could probably 10 grand on the low
Okay.
end. On the high end, which is closer to what this gentleman was, obviously I'm not giving an exact specific because he doesn't, that's his business to say if he wants,
Mhm.
but it was over 100 grand
All
into
right.
this one. Like they
Mhm.
can get spendy.
And where is he
Um,
building this? In his basement?
his garage. And
Okay.
in California, let me tell you, that was miserable. It was
Oh
very
yeah.
hot
Hot.
because there's no
Yeah.
air conditioning either, and there's multiple computers and projectors, and it's so much heat. It's ridiculous. Um, but while we were going through the process of this, there was a gentleman, his name was Doug, who reached out to my friend and basically was like, have you ever heard of this event called World Flight? And my buddy was like, nope, no idea what that is. And essentially, what it is, it's a organization or a group, I think would probably be the best way to word it, and an event that happens every year. It's once a year, the first full week in November, where a bunch of groups that have these full size simulators get together and they all connect to each other via this online system called VATSIM, where you can like all fly with each other. I can see their planes, they can see my planes. There's
Mhm.
virtual like ATC, people sitting at their computers with the same kind of software looking stuff, all the same procedures, all that. And they use that software and they fly around the world, which is why it's called World Flight. Because the other thing with this simulator is it models, as far as the size go, the world 1-to-1. So if you're like in if you're taken off of like where we're at, Southeast Idaho, so let's just say Salt Lake, that's the closest big airport.
Yeah.
In real life, if you're flying from Salt Lake to like Phoenix, that's like an hour and 30 something minute flight, depending on the plane and winds and whatnot. In that simulator, you will be sitting at your computer for an hour and a half to
Yeah.
do that same flight because it is the same distance in the simulator, same speeds, all of that.
Mhm.
And so the way that they raise funds during this and what we do, and I'll get to kind of how we started in a little bit, we basically live stream this whole week long event on Twitch and YouTube, and any and all donations we get just go straight to charity. And that's the premise of World Flight. And there's
And
multiple,
question: how
yeah.
many? You say like you all connect together. How many
Mhm.
different groups of people are there through this?
You're one step ahead of me. I was literally
Is
just
that what
about
you
to
were about
answer
to
that.
say? It's
Yes.
like we're siblings or something. Just
Who would have thought?
yeah.
Um, so it kind of depends on, I guess, like the level would be the best way to word it. Because if you're talking like these teams, like what we are, um, currently there are, I think, 12. I'm on their website looking 20 total teams, and they're flying anything from like the 747, so like what Air Force One is basically, to
Mhm.
what Spirit flies, the Airbuses, the yellow
Oh yeah.
yellow planes, to the same thing we have,
Mhm.
and it's kind of whatever. There's unofficial teams, they call them affiliates, and that there's 8, 16, 30, about 40 of those.
Oh,
But
that's a
then,
lot of people or a lot of
yeah,
teams.
oh, I got some more. Um, Anybody can fly because this. network, VATSIM, it's free, and thousands of people who have like simulators at home, a lot of them tend to use
Even
VATSIM. So
even just on your like laptop with the arrows.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
So like for example, like I use it at my home just when I'm sitting and kind of bored, kind of thing,
Yeah.
and I want to fly around and whatnot. And like it's anybody can hop on, and since anyone can join, typically the very first flight, it's not unheard of to have 200 airplanes sitting at this airport ready to go,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. Like the very
Interesting.
first one, if you log in and you don't have a slotted time that you've already requested weeks in advance, they won't let you go because it's just that busy,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Um, but these teams, they're the only ones that are like doing the official thing where we're live streaming it, broadcasting it, and that kind of stuff. So this was what Doug was telling my friend about what this is, and so my friend's like, "That sounds super cool. Like, let's figure it out." So we went through the whole process of like trying to get a team together. It was Team SoCal was the name of it at the
Mm-hmm.
time. Did our first year, but during that, it just kind of some differences of opinions were started to show, and a few of those sorts of things. And the team, we made it through the first year, raised about $10,000 as Team SoCal, and then the team just disbanded afterwards. It
ten
wasn't going to
thousand
happen.
dollars. That's
It's a
impressive.
chunk of change. Yes, so it's $10,000 that we raised for Orbis, which
And
is it's a DC
who
10.
finds you? Because obviously, like the other people are that would be like interested in this. I feel like are also probably participating.
Hmm.
So who are the people that are paying? Like, are there people
Stumbling
that just
across
sit
it.
there and yeah, like they just
Yeah.
sit there and I mean, I guess there's a group of people that do like that. I guess.
Yep. Since it's live streamed on YouTube, Twitch, that kind of stuff, it's just really whoever stumbles across it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like people, like my friend Parker, who is kind of into aviation, he watched the second year we did it.
Parker,
Homeboy just,
Beatbox Parker.
yeah, Pete Parker, the beatbox Parker.
Yeah.
He watched like the whole thing and was absolutely enthralled.
Oh,
He knows like nothing about it, but he was like, "This is so entertaining." Just
yeah.
watching it because it does for those. I mean, you can't tell me you've never just wondered like, okay, what's happening in the cockpit while the plane's flying,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like it
Mm-hmm.
kind of gives you a little bit of that inside view to
Yeah.
what it's like during flight because that's what you're seeing as you're flying. You're seeing everything happening in the cockpit, kind of thing. So it's just whoever stumbles across us on YouTube, Twitch. Also, I mean, you've seen it. Like last year, I was sending links to people and on Facebook, and
Yeah.
hey, we're doing
I
this, that
I
kind of
logged in
stuff.
and watched your flights, so I was
Aw,
there at a
thanks.
time. Yeah.
Um, but it's really anybody, and we've had people that are like, I have literally never watched anything like this, and this is intriguing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just whoever YouTube and Twitch decides. I think you would like this today, and feeds us
It
into their
pops up on the
algorithm,
yeah.
basically. Yeah.
So you got $10,000 the first year,
Yeah,
which
we
is
raised
great.
that for Orbis,
Okay.
which is a DC-10 that flies around and does eye surgeries in like third world
Oh
like
yeah. Who
countries and
chose
nations and
the
that kind of stuff.
charity?
I think I did actually.
Oh really?
Yeah, because we were trying to find because I was like the leader of the team
Mm-hmm.
because the buddy with the simulator like he wanted to basically donate the sim and the time but he
Yeah.
didn't want to like lead it or run it or
Participate
that
in
kind of
it, kind of.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if you don't know me, obviously you do, but like I've always done leadership related things. I've always
Yeah.
tend to
Kind of
found
take
myself in
control a
the
little bit.
leader.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
rude.
Hey, it's not a bad
um,
thing. It's just,
it's like the way you
it's
said
I feel like
it.
it's a good thing.
Um, and so I basically was like, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to this because I've never seen one of these, but heck, I can run it for you if you want as far
Mm-hmm.
as getting this group together. And so I think I'm the one that chose it, but I couldn't say for certainty. But I definitely
Mm-hmm.
was one of the ones that was the final yay or nay to like
Yeah.
that one. Um, but anyways, the team did not make it after the first year. It disbanded. But me and a few others, we thought it was going to keep going, but some of the others that were on the team were like, no, that didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But they love what it is as far as that aviation, the live streaming, and then using it in a unique way to raise money for charities.
Yeah.
So they just kind of started looking around, seeing what options there were, and there was a gentleman who actually built the throttle in the original simulator who has his own at his house. And so they reached out to him, basically explained what all of it was. Um, and then they were like, yeah, let's do it. So that was what initially created Cali Crew,
Okay,
which is
I don't know what you mean by the guy who built the throttle for the
uh,
original. I don't
yeah.
know what
So
that means.
the original simulator, because there's three simulators in this whole story. There's Sim One, which is the one that my friend had built that I had helped with,
Okay.
and the throttles in there were built because they were from an actual 737, like the real plane. It was um, scrapped and they got it
Is the
basically.
throttle like the thing you push?
Yeah, the thing that you push forward and it tells the engines go broom,
Okay,
basically. It's like the gas pedal in the
that's
car.
what I assumed,
Um,
but you know.
yes, sorry, I forget.
I
I'm not
really I
talking to
knew
an
that. I was
aviation
just answering the
fanatic.
I was just asking, for all the people that might not, but I
Yes,
obviously did.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Clearly, you were
Yeah.
fully aware.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, continue.
uh, and so he is very, very smart guy. He's a lead like coder at one of the like top three uh, tech companies. I'm not going to give out his info either because that's for him to decide if he wants to. He is also a big fan, and he did something a little bit different. So the first one was a replica of a 737, but he went all out on his. He actually went to the boneyard, is what they call it, where all the planes basically go to die, where they chop them up and recycle the aluminum and whatnot, and got the front of the plane and put it in his garage. And then had
Mm,
slowly over time, by getting actual parts from real planes that were retired, figured out how to wire them up, how to code them and everything, and got
and
them all
rebuilt it.
working. Yeah.
Crazy.
And so his was the second simulator that we used. The first for Cali Crew, but the second technically in the story, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, I do gotta say, his simulator is probably the best private owned sim in the world, would be my, like, pretty safe to say, top notch. Is
Like just because it's
phenomenal.
like an actual plane that he built.
Yeah. You could tell he took extreme care and detail in getting everything correct and right.
Mm-hmm.
He had the heads up display, which is the little like screen that pops in front of your face that you can look through and see like your speed and altitude. His was the only home simulator in the world at the time that had that, because we had managed to work with one of our sponsors to get that as like a beta for our stuff kind of thing. It was a really good simulator.
Yeah.
And anywho, made it through the first year with that one. Everything was working super, super well. And then about 3, 4 months after the event, once again, things just difference of opinions, that kind of stuff happened, and he decided he was going to part ways. So we left. And so once again, we don't have a simulator. So we're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, crap. Like, you don't just stumble across one of these things,
Yeah.
let alone two of these things. Like it's they're just not that common. Like in the entire world, this event we only have 20 teams running. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
not that common to find these. But we were kind of in scramble mode. So
Also,
after that
question: you said
happened,
your sponsor got you some of that. How did you get a sponsor? Like, did he get it, or did you reach out to somebody?
yeah, good question. So during the live stream, one of the things we do to incentivize people to donate is we have raffles. And those raffles are typically stuff and gear and that kind of stuff that's been provided by the sponsors. And usually we get those sponsors by just prior to just shotgunning emails out to companies
Really?
galore. Yeah. Um, that
Are they
first
just any
year,
and all companies,
yeah,
or
pretty much. Yeah,
okay?
we there was no end or no limit to who we were going to be emailing. Anthony, you'll hear his name quite a bit. Got to give him massive kudos. He's one of the other three founders of Cali Crew. He really took that on the first year and probably
Mm-hmm.
sent hundreds of emails. And we had one something to give away on every single flight, which I think there's 47 flights during that event,
Oh wow.
ranging anywhere from like, here's a free software that you can use in your flight sim, to I think we had probably a total of like $5,000 worth of hardware that we could give away, like throttle quadrants, joysticks, so the controls that you can actually use at home,
Mm-hmm.
chairs, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Mainly though, like
Um,
flight simulator
yeah, it's pretty much all
type of
flight
things.
sim
Okay.
oriented because
Okay. Yeah.
usually the people that donate, that's kind of what that's because they're
Yeah.
interested in it.
Mhm.
Um, and so one of the sponsors was the company that builds the software that we use that year, which is ProSim, is the name of it. So that's kind of how we just shotgunned out hundreds. Well, Anthony shotgunned out hundreds of emails to
Yeah.
his credit. Um, but we didn't have a simulator. So we're like, oh shucks, like there goes this whole thing. We've done 2 years. The
How
second
much
year we
did you raise?
raised,
Oh.
see, we're in sync. You can't see me, but I just did the like our brains are in sync
Oh,
thing with my
like what I was
hands.
about to do, but then I
Yeah,
realized I couldn't see you either. Yeah.
that exact thing. Um, we raised $12,000 the second year.
Okay. So more than the first year.
Because
Yep.
yeah, actually I think it was like 13.5 if I remember right, 13,500. Which at first we were kind of like, oh boy, because the second organization that we chose and probably will be with, I'm gonna assume till the end of time, it's called Angel Flight West. And basically what they do, they're like Life Flight would be the best way to word it, but all charity. Yeah, so what your husband is very well familiar with,
Yep.
it's basically that, but it's all private pilots with private planes who are donating their time, their planes, their fuel, and flying people who otherwise could not afford or do not qualify for life flight because they, financially
It's
can't afford it or
expensive.
that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah. Um, and they will fly them to get them to where they need to go to get them to their care,
Mhm.
whether that is flying the parents to go meet the kids or flying the kids to go places. I've seen a few posts I think where they've taken animals to get life-saving care kind
Oh,
of stuff.
interesting. Yeah.
um, yeah, there's different like chapters around the country from my understanding, but Angel Flight West is who we partnered with, and they've been phenomenal. And frankly, we just love what they do
Yeah, I
versus
think
some of
it's
the other,
really
like,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, not that other aviation charities and that kind of stuff aren't bad, obviously, but that's
No,
just
but this
like,
is a cool one. Yeah.
yeah, for who we are, plus with like my son and the medical things he's gone through in the past with having out of state visits, like it really rung to me as far as like I was fortunate enough that I could make that 4 hour, 3 hour drive, depending on the weather and that kind of stuff, to get my
Yeah.
son to where he needed to go. But like, if I wasn't and other people aren't, like, there's these guys and
Yeah.
girls and whatnot that can do that. And so we've partnered with them, raised, I want to say it was 13,500 the second year, because in the actual event, we raised 11 grand. And then my work donated $1,000, as well as the owner of the simulator, his work donated $1,000 after the
That's cool.
fact. So in total, it was about 13.5, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. Um, which I don't remember exactly how many flights they said that was able to fund, but it was a lot.
Mhm.
Um, so that was super, super nice. But we didn't have a sim now. And we,
Yeah.
we wanted to keep going with this. So we're like, well, crap. Like, now
What are you
what?
supposed to
And one
do?
of the,
Yeah.
yeah, like, are we just going to somehow find a third person that has a sim? Like, do we buy one that's
Yeah. Because
$120,000?
neither
Do
of the other
we
people were actually doing the flight simulating themselves during the event. You guys were using theirs, correct? Even the
primarily the
second guy,
second gentleman, he
he
did
did
do
it.
some flights, not a
Okay.
ton,
Yeah.
but he definitely did the first and the last flight. He did a few in between, whereas the first gentleman was like, nope, I don't
You just
like,
do it all.
I don't want. I basically, I actually had to, on the very first one, be like, if we get $500 in donations, I will force this guy to get on stream and do the flight. We did it, just saying. So he did do one flight because I convinced the chat to donate.
Uh huh.
Uh, so but yeah, so the second year he did do the flying. And I mean, our team, we've got typically like 20 people that rotate through and do the flights because it's 24/7 for that whole week. There's it nonstop. It just goes
Yeah.
and goes and goes. So there's no way just me and two others could do it. Um, and so we were just like, what do we do? Like, we let the team down kind of thing. We're not gonna be able to continue. I don't think all three of us are in a spot that we could just shell out $120,000 to
Yeah.
put one of these things. And then like, where do we put it? Like there was just all this in my mind. I was like, we're done for. Like
Mhm.
that's it. Um, but to Anthony's credit, Home Skillet was like, nah, this isn't the end of us.
Home skillet.
Uh, yes. So, Home Skillet bestie, he goes by a lot of words.
Uh-huh.
But he just started scouring the web, just trying to find things, finding parts. He had this Excel sheet that was like all the different things that we need as far as parts and equipment, and like trying to figure out where's the best place to get some of this stuff and how much is it. We could get this component from company A, B, or C. These are the different prices. Like he was trying everything.
Yeah.
Um, and then he stumbled across a posting of somebody selling one. Um, and it was in Winnipeg, Canada. It was not quite the full setup. It was missing a couple of things, but it was close enough that like this would work. It was wanting 20, I think it was $25 thousand
Yeah.
dollars if
I
I
feel like that's
remember
what you
right.
said when I asked you about it before.
Yeah, which is a steal of a
Yeah.
deal for $120,000 piece of equipment, basically. Um, so we got in contact with the gentleman and was talking like, hey, we're interested in it. We want to come take a look at it, that kind of stuff. At the time, the other two founders, so it's Shane and Anthony, were the two like original founders with that other gentleman who owned the simulator.
Mhm.
They wanted me at first, but I was still going to try and stick with my buddy's team, not knowing it was going to disband. And I was going to do
Oh
this
yeah.
like back and forth of like 1 year I'll be on Team SoCal, 1 year I'll be on Cali Crew, and just kind of hop between them because I was
Mhm.
friends with both teams, or they were close enough. Maybe 1 year I would drive between the two kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, that clearly didn't work out. And so they basically were like, we're gonna make you a founder, like you should have been from the get go. So we're gonna make you one of them. And I was like, this simulator seems awesome, but I didn't have a passport. But you guys go take a look at it, kind of thing.
Mhm.
And then through a rather interesting set of circumstances, I got a passport the week before they flew out. And so
Mhm.
my darling wife, I don't know how she let me do this, but I basically went up to her and I was like, listen, I got the passport. They will pay for the plane ticket for me to go out there. Uh, can I go to Canada on Friday?
Yeah.
Like, it was that close. It was just like, you guys are leaving in like 4 days. All of a sudden, I've
Yeah.
got a passport. Let me talk to my wife. Um, and bless her soul, she's like, yeah, you could go.
Well, that
So I
was a
got the
nice way to
ticket.
buy your ticket.
Yeah, yeah, got the ticket, and then we flew out to Winnipeg. Get to Winnipeg, go and look at the simulator, and we were like, we can make it work. It's got
Mhm.
some parts and equipment in there that we immediately knew we need to replace. Like the throttles, for example, weren't very good. They
Mhm.
worked, but they weren't very good. It didn't have like the center pedestal, which is the part that goes between the two pilots on the ground, that
Mhm.
has like all the radio information and all that stuff that you need. Like it didn't have any of that. So, but it had the majority of it. It had the liner, like the actual frame, basically. Had the main, like all the instruments up front. Like it had everything we need to really get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And we made a deal with them and we bought it while we were up in Winnipeg. And then we were like, how do we get this thing back?
Yeah.
Also, where is it going? Um, and so we all of a sudden turned into like, we got to disassemble this thing immediately mode. And these things have got so many parts to them.
Yeah.
It's insane. So we took it all apart, disassembled it, and credit to the guy who sold it. He definitely, Yuri, he wasn't like, well, it's yours now. It's your problem. Figure it out. He's like, nah, I'm here. Like, what do you need? What do you need
Oh,
help with?
that was nice.
Um, yeah, he also, it was called, I don't remember the name of his like group. Pilots Club was what it was actually in Winnipeg, which was a bunch of people that would come and fly. He had it in a mall and he was like renting it out for like, come fly a plane for an hour for $100 or
Mhm.
whatever kind of thing. And the people of the Pilots Club were people that would help or were like friends and that kind of stuff. And he phoned one up. His name was Chris. Chris, fantastic guy, just showed up and was like, "What do you guys need? Like, I'm here to help. Let's do
Mhm.
this," kind of thing. So that was an eventful 2 days because
Yeah.
I think we bought it technically at like 2 p.m. and then we had the entire thing disassembled by I think like 11 p.m.
Yeah, that was fast.
Um, And I mean, it's a replica of a plane, like the
Yeah.
front of the plane. This thing is huge.
Remind
Um,
me, they paid for it, right? And you're kind of like a founder, but you didn't have to like put in any money for it, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
One of the two founders was the one that footed the bill for it,
Mhm.
and the other, me and the other, were paying for it more in like our technical expertise kind of
Yeah.
thing, our tech skills, um, and so we basically just tore this thing apart, and then we rented a storage unit in Canada. We just put it in the
Nice.
storage unit, and we're like,
Mhm.
we don't know where
What
this
to
thing is
do?
going yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what we're gonna do with it, but we're determined because we want to continue raising money during World Flight for Angel Flight. Like that is our mission, is what we're doing.
Mhm.
And so a couple of months go by. Anthony, again, to his credit, is trying to figure out places to put this thing. I was even like checking out my local airport and sent a few emails to the two flight schools here, like, hey, I've got this really weird proposition for you. I've got a 737 cockpit. If you've got a space for it, like you can train people on it. We could use the space, mutual collaboration. Like,
Yeah.
I never got a response because they probably were like, this guy's clearly out of his mind and there's no way he has one of these things. Like, um, and so but Anthony, again, this dude is a hound dog,
Mhm.
found a place to put it. There was a couple that owns, I should say, a flight school in Phoenix, and they bought a house, and there's a big old, it's like a gym that's in their garage, so I still call it a garage, but
Yeah.
it's a separate room that has air conditioning, thank
Oh, that's
goodness. And they basically were like, just put it in there, like whatever you guys need. Don't worry about it. Just put it in there. We won't charge you rent, any of that stuff. You can use our internet, use our power, like it's fine.
oh wow.
Honestly, our team would not exist if it wasn't for Anthony's hound dog skills. Full
Yeah.
transparency. Credit to the dude where credit is due. Um, Also, Shane for footing the bill and also like not giving up on any of this.
Yeah.
And so we found a place for it. So then last year in November, we were not able to participate in World Flight, unfortunately, because the simulator wasn't put together. So
Mhm.
instead of streaming, doing the flight that week, we then decided, let's put the sim together. So we got the team together, got everyone in there, and it took 7 days to build this thing because
Mhm.
it's a, I don't remember I think it's like a 12-foot wraparound projection screen that's 180 degrees,
Yeah, you
three
called me to help you with the
projectors.
dimensions.
Yeah, I needed math. I was like, Mandy, she knows math. I'll send a Marco Polo to the whole family. And I think Ben was actually the one that answered it.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Yeah.
um,
The
yeah,
engineer
it
was
took a
able to help with that a little bit.
yeah. It took a whole week to put the thing together because I mean, there is probably
How did you get it from the
easily,
Winnipeg to Phoenix?
good question. Uh, we paid some shipping company to do
Mm,
it.
thousands
Anthony,
of dollars.
again, found a company that would do it for cheaper than anyone else because everyone else was wanting like 6, 7 grand or
Yeah.
something. It was crazy, and he found one. I want to say it was only like $1,500
Mhm.
or something, and it was
Yeah.
still in Canada. So that's $1,500 to deal with customs, all that stuff, the international paperwork, and then ship it down to Phoenix on
Yeah.
the southern side of the country, kind of thing. And they took care of all that. And so again, Anthony, the hound dog, went and figured all that out and got it shipped to his house, and then went and started putting the thing together before even any of us got down there.
Yeah.
It was very very gung ho about it, and so we put it all together. Took a whole week to do so. It's 8 feet wide. It's 10 feet long. I think like 6 feet high or something. The screen takes up the full 16 feet of the
Yeah.
room. There's 4 computers that are all like networked together with, I think
Mhm.
like at this point, there's 65 different programs running on it that are all talking to each other simultaneously and doing, it's a lot. Um, which is also why, if you ever watch the live stream, you will probably see it fail a few times because one of those 65 programs died or
Mm.
something.
Mhm.
Um, but put it together, and then this year we've just been basically in crunch mode to get everyone trained up to kind of the level that we want him to be. One of the members on the team, he is what's called type rated on the 737, which basically means legally he can fly it. He's a captain for one of the big airlines
Oh,
on that
really?
plane.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. How do you find these people? Is it just through the program that,
Just
or
stumbling across them is kind of what it seems like.
they just
But
say, "Hey, you want to
that
be on?"
gentleman, yeah, he was on the original team on simulator
Oh,
number
he
one.
was. Okay.
Yeah, he was. Now, how he met my friend, I have no
Don't
idea
know.
how that
Mhm.
happened. But he's stuck with us through this whole thing,
Mhm.
and he's gotten together with a lot of our other team members and came up with like a training for us, basically. Not a full type rating training because that's a whole another beast,
Mhm.
obviously, but enough that we can all members of our team can get in there, fly this thing, and work together to fly it. Because one of the weird oddities with that people, unless you've done it, you never think about when you're flying on your home simulator, you're doing both the captain and the first officer's job because you're the only
Yeah.
one flying it. Like it's just you sitting in your computer kind of thing. So
Yeah.
you're doing both roles. But then once you get in a two-person crew, you don't do that. You
Mhm.
can't like you'll start stepping on each other or like you go to flip a switch that they're supposed to and then it kind of throws off what they're doing. Like it's hard to get into this mindset of it's a
Having
two-person
two people.
crew now.
How many
So they
people did
did
you
the
say is on
training.
the team total? Like 20 people?
Total, there's about, well, it's like the WhatsApp group we have has like 30 something people in
Oh.
it.
And how many are actually
But
going to be in Phoenix for this
yeah,
event?
this year I want to say there's about 10 pilots because one of the things that type rated pilot did along with our training crew is we kind of set a you have to go through training or you're not flying is
Yeah.
one of our rules
And it kind of
because
weeded
we've
some people out.
yeah, and also some people just don't have the time because each lesson is about an hour and a half to two
Mhm.
hours, and there's 8 lessons that they
Oh yeah.
created.
Mhm.
So I mean, even I, as one of the founders, had to go through it and get check righted off, basically get
Mhm.
confirmed that like you do know all the stuff about the plane and what you do and how you know how to fly it, kind of
Mhm.
thing. Because we wanted people to go in and look good and be able to fly. Plus, because there's so many people in this event if you do something wrong, you could start a chain reaction.
Yeah.
And because you're an official team, one of the rules is like from the organization, from the World Flight Organization, is everyone on your team will be proficient in flying the thing
Mhm.
because these weird things happen. They could put you in a hold, which means like as you're flying, they're like stop at this point and just fly in a circle because there's just so much traffic. Like we need to slow everybody down, and that's one of the ways they do it. And that's a specific way you have to program that into the computer. And if you don't know how to do that, now all of a sudden you're cutting in line, and ATC's like, crap, what do we do with this person who is
Mhm.
messing everything up? Like it's crazy how much of a chain reaction it can create. And we obviously don't want to be the ones to do that.
No. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we they created this awesome training program that everyone has gone through, everyone that's been signed off so far. And so that way this year people can just hop in. Even though, like when I did my check ride, I was flying with another person. I have literally never flown with him before,
Yeah.
but we just immediately, I was just doing my stuff. He was just doing his stuff. It just went perfectly smooth, no
Mhm. It worked
problems.
out.
Like it was great. Um, and so put a bunch of time and effort. And this year, will be kind of we call it like the rebirth, basically.
Yeah.
Like we're back because we finally got the simulator. It's up and running. It's done
Mhm.
a few test streams already. The team is ready to go. Like it is crunch time,
Now you're called the
and
Cali
we're
crew. Does anybody actually live in California still?
yes.
Okay.
I should know the reason behind this. There is an actual like they called it Cali Crew not because they lived in California, but like one of the main owners was from a place, and then like the plane originally that we were flying in was from another part of the country that kind of went by Cali, even though it wasn't California. I don't remember the
Okay.
story behind it. I just remember California. That's not the reason, but
Yeah.
we're still sticking with the name, but
Mm,
some of our team members, we have one gentleman that's in London that's flying in. We've got people all over the country that are, and well, the world that are part of the team that'll be coming in for it. So
that's
it's not
cool.
just California people now, thankfully.
Um, do you have to like set yourself up as like a company or
An
like
LLC or something like
yeah,
that. Yeah, good question. So the way we do it is kind of a little bit different. I don't know how other teams do it. The first year that we did it, just one of the members on the team, basically the donations were going to his PayPal, and then he just sent like
the
donated it
donation?
to
Yeah.
pay. Yeah, messed with taxes and stuff like that, apparently, from
Yeah.
what I heard after the fact. So what we did, we just partnered directly with Angel Flight, who is they are registered and they're a 501c3, so they are a nonprofit,
Yeah.
and we don't see a dime of it
Mhm.
because one of the other rules is any and all donations you get have to
Have
go
to
to the
go.
charity.
Yeah.
So like in the past, one of the sponsors asked, like, we can't really do anything, but what if we helped fund getting people hotels while they're there or food or that kind of stuff? It's like, no, like if you're gonna give money, we can't take it for us, kind of
Mhm.
thing. Like it's all got to go to our charity kind of thing that we picked. But since Angel Flight is the one that's getting all the funds, we don't ever see a penny of it. We
Yeah.
don't have to register
Okay.
like as
That
a
makes sense.
501c3 or that kind of stuff. And the best part about that is you actually get a tax receipt. So when you make these donations, unlike most other teams where they get the money and then they forward it,
Yeah.
like if I donated, I don't have anything that I can then take to my tax person. We're like, oh, I donated to a charity. Here's my write off, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Ours, you do. You immediately get an email from Angel Flight West, and then you do continue to get emails after that, which is typically like, this is what your donation has helped. Obviously, you can opt out if you want to,
Mhm.
but you get a tax write off form. So that's one thing during our live stream. We're always like, if you donate, you'll get a tax write off. Like
Yeah.
it's like tax write off, people. That most other teams can't say because of the way they have it set up. So that's kind of always a selling point as we're live streaming.
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
it yeah, it's an interesting thing because we're using aviation to help raise funds, obviously for an aviation type thing, but not in a way that people are typically familiar with. And it
Yeah.
has stretched as far as like me and my skills and comfort and that kind of stuff, because you're basically in a television production for a week is the
Yeah.
best
You
way to
are.
word it.
Yeah.
Like, and some of these flights, like the longest flight last year was 6.5 hours.
Mhm.
Cruise is incredibly boring for 5.5 hours of that. I mean, as you're taking off, that's fun to watch because lights are
Yeah.
changing, switches are flipping, but then in cruise, you're just sitting there. And
Yeah.
so you have to put on a show for 5.5 hours and
Yeah.
entertain people that are watching and
Do your
listening. Like,
musicals, do your
oh, it is.
comedian acts, do
Yeah, it has it's ramped up my talk show skills
yeah,
basically, as far
that's
as
good.
like you gotta just be able to entertain people for 6 hours
Yeah.
sometimes. And that has been one thing that we've been trying with training. And when we were doing interviews this last year to have people join the team, we're like, can you be entertaining?
Yeah.
Because like we in the past we've had some people hop on, they take off, and then they just pull out their phone and they're like on TikTok for an hour on the
Mhm.
live stream. Like, I don't want to watch you watch
Watch
TikTok. That's
TikTok, yeah.
boring. Yeah, like
And how
and
often, so
so
like do you usually take like one flight a day, or how often do you end up doing the flights? Like do you
it's kind of,
rotate?
yeah, we try and rotate through. They're actually literally as we speak, the other two founders, Shane and Anthony, are trying to work on the schedule. And once we're
Oh.
done with this, I'm gonna hop off and talk with them
Uh-huh.
about it. But we did try to rotate as much as we can, and not only rotate like how much you're flying, but how you're flying, whether you're the first officer, so the right seat, that person primarily does like flipping the switches and talks to air traffic control. They're the ones
Yeah.
talking to them while the other guy is flying, kind of
Mhm.
thing. And then
Yeah.
so the next flight, maybe we'll have you be the captain where you're the one
Yeah, you're
actually controlling
switching.
the plane. Yeah, so you
Mhm.
get that variety. But then also you got to factor in like people need sleep.
Yeah.
When was the last time they slept? How long can they go for? So sometimes you might fly, you do an hour flight. You have like a hour and a half break, then you go back. Or like one of my flights last year was that 6.5 hour flight. That was the only flight I did that day because it basically was all day long.
Yeah.
Plus, the other thing is it's really hard to kind of sleep. It doesn't exist that week,
No, because
especially
things are just
because
going on.
yeah, and also depending on where you're at in the world at times, like when you're sitting in the cockpit, because of the way the projector screen is wrapped around, that's all you see
Mm-hmm.
is what is on the projector screen,
Yeah.
unless you like look for other things. So you'll be flying and it's like 1 p.m. in the world, wherever it is you're flying at, and then you'll hop out and it's actually 2 p.m. and it's like 2 a.m. and it's pitch black
Mm-hmm.
outside. And then
Messes
you're
with
like,
you a little bit.
yeah. Oh, or you go in and it's the sun setting in the simulator and you land and it's 2 a.m. or whatever. You get out and it's like 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah. And
And
you're
you're
like,
like,
what is happening?
it's your body is just like, what is happening
Yeah.
right now? Like, where am I? What is going on? It's
Do you guys
just
all get like an Airbnb to room together, or does everyone?
yes.
Okay.
We all have a crew house, big old Airbnb this year. We did it last 2 years ago. Um, Plus the place that we have the simulator at, they said we could use like two of their guest beds, kind
Oh,
of
it's nice.
thing. Plus a chunk of the team now lives in Phoenix, which is so
Oh,
nice.
interesting. Yeah.
Because sometimes I could just be like, I need someone to go to the simulator, turn this on, flip this switch while I try and
Yeah.
program it from 2,000 miles away, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, we call it the crew house. It's basically a party house for that week where everyone like we're just all sitting there. The live stream will be on the TV. We're just talking, watching, having a good time, relaxing. It's all aviation for that entire week, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what the majority of us there are all in love
So
with. And
passionate
so
about. Yeah, it's fun.
yeah, it's I get excited every single year for
Yeah,
it.
I know.
I'm
I know.
extremely fortunate that I'm kind of been in these situations I've been in. Because, like I was saying, you don't just stumble across one of
Three
these
different.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let alone three of them. And one of them now I technically co own. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
pay anything for it aside from my expertise, kind of thing. Like, so I'm extremely fortunate to be
Yeah.
in these kinds of situations that have kind of enabled this. But it's something it ends and you get like that runner's high immediately afterwards. You're like, we're doing this again, like
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah. You're all
And
excited for.
yeah, because we now have the simulator and it's in a spot, like we're planning on doing more live streams throughout the year, maybe like a not
Mm-hmm.
world flight level. That's like the big game kind of thing.
The big.
That's like our big game kind of stuff, but we're gonna start doing like weekend live streams raising money for charity because
Yeah, that's
our
cool.
simulator, we've kind of built it a little different where most people that get these things, like you don't get one, like unless you are super passionate, like we've talked about. Um, but then they're building it just for the realism. Like they're building it
Yeah.
to fly it. And that is cool for aviation people, but not so much cool for others. And so like they'll put in behind the seats, there's a circuit breaker wall where there's the hundreds of circuit breakers that they pop and it like encloses the seats. We don't have that because it
Mm-hmm.
was awful for trying to put cameras in. And then we built like a platform that has two lazy boys behind it
Oh,
that
that's
they'll have
nice.
headsets
Yeah.
because we want it to be more of like a studio set for like maybe a podcast one day and it's done from the plane kind of thing
Mm-hmm.
instead of those like it's more of an entertainment set that is aviation related instead of here's an airplane, let's try and make entertainment work inside of it
Yeah.
kind of thing. We kind of thought of it from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So we're super excited to get everything up and running and
Well, I'll be
show the
interested
world
to
what we
look at
got
it this
basically.
year and watch it for however many hours I do.
Yes,
So,
it is. It starts November 1st
okay,
and
that was gonna be my
ends.
question.
See, we're in sync. Starts November 1st. The last flight's probably it's either late Friday night, Saturday morning, so like November 8th or 7th,
Yeah.
because it's 7 days. It starts in uh, Sydney is where our first flight, and then it ends in Sydney,
Okay.
where we do a flight over the Sydney Bridge. You fly under it, and then you go up, do a barrel roll, which you never do in a commercial plane. So we always love doing that, and then we go back and land. So anytime between basically that the first and the 7th or 8th, You can find us on YouTube, Twitch. Cali Crew is what it's called. Cali Dash Crew. It'll be live,
Okay.
and you can check us out.
Okay. Well, you can send me a link so that I can attach the link for the YouTube or Twitch or whatever.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
And if you're interested in watching or donating, you can do that there.
Yeah. You get the tax receipt, like I was saying. That's one of our selling
That's
points. You'll
right.
get the write off. You can take it to your tax person
And you're
next year.
putting it towards a very good charity.
Yeah, you can help people get the life-saving medical care that they need and help them get from
Yes.
point A to point B.
Yes. Well, thank you for telling us all the inside outs of that. It's very interesting and a very niche hobby for sure. Which is actually
Yes.
funny because I feel like all of a sudden, I say all of a sudden, I know multiple people who are like going to flight school or are, well, like my father in law now who has a flight simulator of his own. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm surrounded by it now. Like it's very normal. Everybody has one. When really
Yeah,
they don't, but
no.
yeah, it is a very
It
niche
has
thing.
grown a lot
Uh
though in
huh.
the last few years, which has been nice because Microsoft
Yeah.
put out a brand new one and they put it out on consoles, which I think was the big thing that helped. And at last Flight Sim Expo, which is a big annual thing where a bunch of nerds, aka me and my flight sim friends, go and learn more about flight sim stuff. They were talking about stats, and I think they had like 20, now that sounds like too much, like 10 million unique players that have done flight on just that one simulator,
Oh,
which
interesting.
is unheard of for a
Mm-hmm.
flight sim. Like it's kind of going more mainstream. I also think COVID had a lot to do with that because it came out
You're
right
at
during
home
that.
and yeah,
People were stuck at home and they wanted to go travel, and this one replicates
provided
the
them a
world
way. Mm-hmm.
1 to 1. So like I
Yeah.
found my house and it was the
Yeah.
same shape and everything. I found mom's house. Like
So
you
weird.
take off in your town, you know exactly where you're at. You see all of the
Mm-hmm.
roads, all the buildings, all of that, and it's one
So
to one. So I
interesting.
think that helped a lot.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I could go on a tangent for days. So
Oh, yeah.
it's my
Well,
hobby.
I'll be excited to hear about it. Okay. Well, I'll let you get on your phone call with your
Yeah,
co-founders for your
it's
scheduling.
enveloping my life right now. So
It
I'm
is.
gonna go do that.
Okay.
But I love it.
All right. Well, love you.
Love you too. I appreciate you letting me be on. Great
Oh,
podcast.
oh yeah,
Listen to
of
every episode. It's
course.
been phenomenal.
Good. Yeah. I'll bring you some Diet Coke with lime this
Mm,
weekend.
yes, yes.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. Okay.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Bye.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Love you too. Bye.
Flight simulation is definitely not something that I necessarily have a desire to do. I have tested it out. Hadley has a flight simulator thing at his house as well. And so I have played around with it. You know, I took off, I crashed the plane. You know, I didn't really get into the air, and it was enjoyable for a time, but it's definitely not something that I'm super passionate about. But I am so glad that they have things like this, especially because, again, like flight school is so expensive, and Hadley has always wanted to be a pilot. And so the fact that he has this that he can do and experience it all still in a way is really cool. And I also think it's so cool that he has found his like group of people that they can all just do this and be super excited about it with. Just really happy for him. Also happy that he gets to do this event again. He's so excited every year for it, and I know how much he loves it. So I am going to put in the episode description for this a like link or URL. I'm not quite sure how it works, but I'm going to put it in the description if you're curious about it. I can also post about it on my Instagram stories at some point next week when the event is actually going. If anybody's interested in just going to look and see, you know, what it's about, I will be tuning in at some points, obviously, to support my brother and what he's doing. I think it's really cool. I think he had mentioned to me before the charity that they did, but I couldn't remember. And obviously, having a husband that does life flight, I've also had family that has had to use life flight. So I think it's a really cool charity that they donate to. So yeah, go check that out. Donate if you'd like, or just support them. If you are interested in seeing any like photos or anything of the setup that Hadley does have that he gets to do at this like charity event that they do, I will post some pictures on my Instagram page, so you can find those there. I may also post a video. I'm not quite sure. I need to remember, look back what I've got, but I'll post some pictures of either the one that they have for this event. I also have some pictures of the flight setup that Hadley has just for himself at his home. So yeah, I'll post some of both of those. I did bring Hadley a Diet Coke with lime when I saw him. So I told him he wasn't allowed to drink it unless I saw him drink it because I wanted to see what he thought. And yeah, he took a sip and he's like, I can kind of taste the lime. And I'm like, yeah. But then I left before he finished it. So I asked what his overall like review was in the end. And he said it was all right. There was more of a lime taste than he was expecting, but he would still prefer some more lime. But that being said, he said if he was going on a road trip and went to a gas station and saw it, he would pick that over a normal Diet Coke. So I feel like that's good, right? Curious if any of you have tried it. I tried another one of them today, and it's no Dr. Pepper with my flavorings in that, but I think it's still good and changes it up from my usual. So I do like to do that occasionally. All right. It is time for my spiel about coming on the podcast. Your favorite part. Me telling you to submit your story to me. You can find it on Instagram in my submit a story highlight. You can go on there, fill out the form, or you can just DM me. I'm really easy to get a hold of that way. And you know what? I feel like doing something a little different this week. The first person to reach out to me after this episode airs to tell me that they have a story that they want to share on the podcast, I will send you a little treat or a drink on me. So that's whoever reaches out to me first with a story that they want to share, you'll get a little something from me. Find me on Instagram, do it that way, or you can email me, sippinonstoriespodcast@gmail.com. Oh, my Instagram is sippinonstoriespodcast. If you didn't already know that, if you haven't already heard me say that before, so find me there. I'd love to hear from you. Also, you guys, I cannot believe we are already at the end of October. This month has flown by, but I'm so excited to get into November. We have a lot of fun things to celebrate in November. I've got birthdays, obviously, Thanksgiving. And then here comes Christmas. I just cannot believe it. So I hope you all have a great last week of October, celebrating Halloween if you celebrate Halloween. And if not, that it's just a good one anyway. So I'll be here next week for another episode of the Sippin' on Stories podcast. Bye, everyone.